Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back, another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, December 25th. It is Christmas, and the Celtics lost. First time losing 2 games in a row this season. 118-114 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. Brutal first half, great third quarter. Couldn't get the job done in the fourth quarter despite their late game comeback. Ugly defensive game. Actually, a better three-point shooting performance than they've had in recent weeks, but it didn't matter because they couldn't defend, and Tyrese Maxey, Caleb Martin, and Joel Embiid cooked them.
Yeah, it was pretty not fun at all to watch. That's not true. It was a fun game. Objectively, it was just fun. A lot of runs, a lot of energy in the building, like fun game. But it wasn't really fun to watch in the area where we all care about, which is the winning area. They just didn't really play winning ball. Like the talk at the press conferences afterwards was Joe kind of calling them out for playing inconsistent basketball. And I think we've all kind of felt that over the last week. I heard everyone say they're 3-4 in their last 7 games, 1-3 in their last 4, I believe. Not good at all. Not good. Not what you want to see. It doesn't feel like the same dominant type of basketball the Celtics are playing. Where that is starting from is a more complicated issue, I suppose, because you have a game like today where you felt like they didn't bring it defensively and they gave up a lot of open looks to Caleb Martin, which the guy shoots 30% from 3. Like, I don't blame Joe Mazzulla for being like, let's game plan. He's the help shooter. You help off of him. He is not.
Hot take? I do. I think it's dumb.
I was going to say I blame him for not adjusting. Maybe.
Yeah.
Once he starts 3 of 4, maybe you just kind of lean over and you're like, "What's going on out there?"
Yeah. I mean, context. Caleb Martin made a career-high 7 threes in this game. He had a season-high 23 points. Absolutely killed the Celtics. Shot 4 of 4 from 3 in the fourth quarter, including a bank shot 3, which I would argue shouldn't count because he didn't call bank. I didn't hear it. Think those should be wiped off the board. 1-point loss.
Actually,
hooray.
I was going to say they kind of should take that off, but they shouldn't. It went in. It went
in. Yeah, Caleb Martin absolutely blitzed the Celtics, killed them. And after the game, Joe Mazzulla said, basically, who are we supposed to help off of? You want to stop Joel Embiid? You want to stop Tyrese Maxey? You have to help off someone. And I agree with that principle. I agree with what Joe Mazzulla said, because that, in theory, is sensible. Like, you want to stop the stars. Tyrese Maxey was incredible in this game. Joel Embiid had a good game. He was making his jump shots. Then in the locker room, Jaylen Brown said that the Celtics game plan was to make Caleb Martin beat them. Quote, he's done that before to us in the past, but going into it, we felt comfortable with letting him take all the shots. He just knocked them down tonight. And I get it.
And the other times too.
And the other times. I 100% agree with the principle that leaving, like you can't, you have to look at the numbers, right? I truly believe that when you're game planning in that way, and it is not leave the guy open, it is help off of him and then get back with the closeout. That is what the Celtics do. And I think people get that confused, so I wanted to point that out. But I think I understand the desire to game plan based on the numbers, right? Ignore the faces, ignore the people, right? Caleb Martin is a 30% three-point shooter. You leave the 30% three-point shoot over relatively open to guard Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, and then you help back out so he doesn't get a wide open shot. In this case, you see him be hot. You see him making everything. You have to adjust. And it just feels like to live by the math, die by the math principle only works if the Celtics are playing with 100% defensive effort. And they're just so clearly not doing that. They're just not right now. The defense is the problem. And I think John Corrales is his line of questioning after the game to Joe Mazzulla, not that it's an interrogation, but it sounded like that. His questions that he was asking, the story that he's clearly working on, which is it feels like the hot 3-point shooting earlier in the season is masking some defensive issues, is true, because this is one of the most talented defensive teams in the NBA when they put in the effort, and the effort hasn't been there. The rotations have been slow. Kristaps Porzingis has been slow under the basket, and we'll talk about his injury in a little bit. They're getting blown by way too easily this year. And it just feels like the connectivity that made them so special on defense last year hasn't been there, especially in these past few weeks. And realistically, all season. The difference is the shooting has been slumping the past few weeks. And instead of the defense helping the shooting, it was the shooting helping the defense, as John Corrales was trying to point out. And I kind of agree with it. And it showed up tonight because the Celtics shot awesome. They shot 49 threes and made 20 of them, 40.8%. Every single player in the starting lineup made at least 3 threes, and they lost. They lost.
What sucks about this is a game where you shouldn't have to worry whether or not they're going to try. Are they going to try defensively? Like, that shouldn't really be a question on a 5 o'clock primetime game on Christmas against a rival team that clearly wants to beat you. They came out with great. This, what the hell did I just hear? All right, disregard
Heard
that.
a yell.
I heard it too. I don't know where it came from. Anyways, they came out. The Sixers came out with great fire. Like, they came out. Maxey was on right from the beginning. Embiid made a 3. Like, they were engaged. The Celtics were matching them. They fell apart in the second quarter. You talked about the third quarter a lot today. That was when the Celtics got back in this game. And then you saw them come out completely flat in the fourth quarter, where every shot that they got felt like it was a difficult one, even if it was a shot that you believe in them to make. I'm writing about this. I included a couple clips. There was a Jayson Tatum layup through traffic that if it went in, everyone's like, yeah, good shot. Like, not shocked at all that it went in. Derek White taking a floater over somebody usually goes in. Jaylen taking a shoulder bump push shot usually drops for him. Like, we saw him do that the other day quite a bit in Orlando. He was on money with that. Today, they just didn't go. I don't think it's like a knock on them. I just think Philly brought it. They brought it. They made them work for everything. And then on the other end of the floor, as this is all happening, as the Celtics are forced to do everything possible to get a respectable shot up, Caleb Martin is taking wide open threes after he's already 3 of 4. Like, yes, one of them banked in, but they were all relatively open. On NBA.com, they'll be listed as open because I think Nimi was one of the closeout guys, and he was definitely not within 6 feet. One of them was completely open where he could reset himself. And then there was a third one that I also think was someone slipped. That was the one that Joe referenced in the post game where he was like, somebody slipped on the closeout, whatever.
Yeah.
That's 3 wide open shots. There's also another one where Lowry beat a flying out Cornet because he was just caught out in rotation, steps aside for a wide open one. It was so much easier for Philly to get up quality looks than it was for the Celtics. And that was the difference in this game, unless you want to just look at free throws, where the Celtics missed 5 free throws in a game they lost by 4. That's enough to make you put your head in the microwave. It just wasn't a good start to the fourth quarter. And the frustrating part about all of this is you saw, as they said in the post-game press conferences, Tatum literally said this, once they engaged with like the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, they ripped off this incredible run. This place was on fire in here. They would cut it to within 3, and it just was a situation they ran out of time. They didn't have enough time. And then they also had some lapses at the end where, I mean, say what you want about Nick Nurse getting them to add a 3/10 of a second to the shot clock on that Maxey layup, but Maxey was wide open on a cut to the basket with 1 second on the shot clock. Yeah. That's a lapse.
See, maybe this is the same thing. I feel like the problem is not effort, it's focus. And that's very similar, right?
It's a mix.
But I don't think the Celtics are out there not caring, right? I don't think they don't care. I think they are like, I don't know. Feels like they have ADHD.
They're sitting back in the video game chair is what they're doing.
Yeah. It's laziness. It is lack of focus. It is missing small details, and those details build up in big problems. Like, all it takes is getting beat on one drive to force a rotation, and then you're stuck in rotation, and then you're cooked, right? It is a butterfly effect. It is a ripple effect, and the Celtics have had to deal with a lot of that because the focus just isn't there. I don't think they're not trying. I think they are just not as focused as they need to be, and they're similar things. But I don't think the Celtics are out there not caring. I just think it is they aren't as locked in as they need to be. Maybe, and part of that maybe is not caring, but I don't think it is fully, oh, these guys don't give a shit. I think it's just they're not as focused as they have to be.
For me, when I say not trying, I'm talking about like they're not locking in. Like, that's what I mean. So I think we're aligned.
Sure. Yeah. Going through some individual player performances. Jayson Tatum was really, really good in this game. 32 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block. 3 turnovers, not ideal, but pretty on par. 11 to 20, 4 of 8, 6 of 7. Got to the line 7 times. Still felt like he should have been to the line more times. He was getting hit a lot in this game. They've been playing physical. Teams have been playing the Celtics very physical. Gary asked about it before the game. It's just tough. It's just a really tough waste of a Tatum game almost.
Yeah, you could look at it that way, where it was a scorcher from Tatum for quite some time. I think in the second half, he might have been a bit tired. He was out there for almost the entire game, 42 minutes in this one. I'm trying to pull it up just to see what he did in the second half, but let's see, 6 of 11 the second half, so I'm probably just tripping. I'm not trying to hate on him. I think he was excellent today. I just felt like the Sixers might have keyed in on him enough at the end of the game to make him defer, which is why I'm thinking that he lost his legs, but really he was just making good reads. Yeah, Tatum was unbelievable. He was locked in. He didn't look like a guy that missed last game because he was sick. He looked completely fresh. He was making threes. He was making tough threes. He had some nice cuts to the basket, some dunks. I loved what we saw from him. He's been aggressive on the glass when they really need him to do that. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't get the job done. They couldn't get over the hump at the end because, like you said, they might have wasted it.
I feel like part of it is he was so hot in the second quarter that him just being like pretty damn good felt like a step down because he was just like unstoppable in the third.
Sure.
So maybe that's part of it. Al Horford was incredible. 6 of 13, 5 of 10 from 3. Plus 22 in this game, and Joel Embiid was a minus 18. So I think that he did a pretty good job on him. Embiid still finished with a good game. He had 27 on 8 of 15, 4 or 5. Like, he made his jump shots, but if you're guarding Embiid, the goal is to keep him out of the paint and force him to take jump shots, and that's what Al Horford did. So obviously an incredible game from Al Horford. He was, he always plays well against Philly.
He does. He always does. They needed all the buckets they got from Al. It was imperative for them to even be competitive at the beginning. Al and Kristaps were the early offense. They made 5 threes to start this game. Those two big guys had 2 apiece. Al made everything difficult for Embiid, as he always does. Embiid wasn't able to push him around. They forced Embiid to catch the ball around the 3-point line, which made things a lot more difficult for him too. And Horford, as long as he's on this team, is going to make things hard for Joel. He just is. Joel still got his buckets, but he had to make tough shots. He had to settle for threes. He had made only 7 threes on the season before this game. I think he made 4 in the game against the Celtics. So that shows you how much differently they made him play tonight. And because of that, you see, even though he had a big night, numbers-wise, the plus-minus, I feel like the plus-minus speaks a lot louder when we're talking about star players, when we're talking about the person that's supposed to be the guy on the team. It doesn't mean as much if you're talking about like Sam Hauser being a plus whatever in game X. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean nothing, but it doesn't mean as much as I think it does if the guy that's supposed to be your guy is somehow a net negative by that much.
Sure. I understand. Speaking of net negative, Jaylen Brown was a -1, and you felt it. He was not very good in this game. 10 of 23, 3 of 6, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. Now, first half Jaylen and second half Jaylen were very different players. Second half Jaylen was making all the shots, was very good, looked all right. Still wasn't the best on defense. First half Jaylen might have been the worst Jaylen has looked all season. He was not focused on defense. Guys were getting right by him. He was taking stupid drives to the rim. He was not making any of his shots. He was making bad decisions. He had 4 turnovers, I think, before he made his first shot. It was really, really bad. This was not the game you wanted to see from Jaylen. He turned it around a little bit, or a lot of bit in the second half, but still overall, like, you still left this one feeling like, damn, like that wasn't ideal. You're muted.
Jaylen was the guy on the bus meme. The one where he's looking out the window and one side is just all like sad, like dark clouds, mountains. The other side is the guy looking out into the sunshine. That's first half, second half. Second half, I thought he was actually a big part of their charge back in this game the first time in the third quarter. He came out right from the jump. He got to the basket. The first play of the half, I think, was an and one for him. He had several plays going forward that he was just the aggressor. And that's where Jaylen is at his best. It's what we saw from him at the end of last season, from like March on, when he just decided he was stronger than everybody and he was going through guys' chests at the rim. That's when he's at his peak. That's what we saw in the playoffs. And we saw it really affect his confidence today, too. He made 2 threes at the end of this game, in a game where I don't think any of us, or I don't even want to say a game, in a season where I don't think any of us are seeing Jaylen take a 3 and being like, oh, yeah, that's going to go in. Yet he has, I mean, he's an NBA player. He's an all-star NBA player. He's obviously going to have confidence in himself. But to be the guy in those moments on this team to take those shots and make them says a lot about what the foundation of getting yourself going the way you're comfortable doing so can do for the rest of your game. Unfortunately, he wasn't en fuego Jaylen for the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. Would have helped. He missed 2 free throws during that stretch. He went 0 for 2 on his trip to the free throw line. It's not good. He needs to be better at free throws. The whole team needs to be better at it. It seems like they've taken a step back significantly there this year, and they've gotten away with it. But tonight they don't.
Jaylen Brown did not make a free throw tonight. He was 0 of 3. Definitely not what you want to see. Definitely not very good. For context, the Celtics this year are 7th in free throw percentage at 79.7, which is higher than I thought they were. And last year, they were 1st in free throw percentage. Or sorry. They were also 7th in free throw percentage at 80.7. So they're pretty much on par. But
yeah,
certain guys are a lot worse. Tatum shooting worse from the line. Jaylen shooting worse from the line, I think. And obviously you can't miss some of those big spots. Kristaps went down with an injury in this game. Did not return after halftime due to an ankle soreness, I think, something like that. And he was doubtful to return, ended up not returning. He was pretty good when he was in the game. He made some shots. Didn't think he was very good on defense. He was a step slow, I thought, a lot of this game on the back line, rotating over. He didn't really do the Kristaps things you've come to expect from him. I don't know if part of that was because he was feeling the ankle injury and he wasn't as quick on his feet. But that really hurt the Celtics too, because we talked about it all before he came back of how important his rim protection would be. And then he came back and we're like, oh shit, his rim protection is really important. And so when he's not able to contribute that, it isn't good. It hurts the Celtics defense. That said, it almost felt like you took away the crutch of their defense, because when you didn't have Kristaps to play that backline defense, the perimeter weaknesses got exposed and the lack of focus got exposed. The Celtics have a very capable front of playing defense. They just didn't really do it, and that was an issue. I also I don't think it was as big of an issue as it could have been, but having Kristaps out meant Al Horford had to guard Embiid, which when they wanted to run double bigs meant Luke or Nimi had to be on a wing, and that wasn't very good. And I also think Kristaps not being able to close out
Caleb.
as much.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and clearly we saw what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kristaps, I thought he was good offensively, but I thought the defense was pretty bad.
The most recent update we have unofficially, which is not from the team, is Jay King saw him leave, no boot, no visible limp. He looked all right walking out. Maybe they're just being cautious with him at this point. Anytime he has any kind of flare up, they're just like, hey, chill out. We don't need to play you, because Kristaps started this game kind of rough. I think he was 0 of 2, 0 of 3 from 3, hurts his ankle trying to do a step back. Then he scores all of his baskets for the night after the injury. So I definitely thought it was hindering him on defense. He wasn't really laterally moving well. We were discussing it up top, whether or not he was running funny and like wasn't really able to do that. Is this just what it is with him now? Like, are we at a point where every time Kristaps is going to play, you just kind of assume something might flare up, something might tweak, and he might have to miss the rest of the game? It feels like the last couple times he's been out there, we've seen that.
Seen what? Repeat that one more time. Sorry, I was looking at a stat.
It feels like not every time he's in a game, but it feels like every other week he's got something that's like, hey, is he hurt?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Embiid, Kristaps shake hands. Like, it is.
Embiid, by the way, who fell before this game warming up, and there was significant question amongst those that are here of whether or not he was actually going to play. And then I don't know if it was the same ankle or not, but he also tweaked his ankle at the end of the game. So who knows?
What a ridiculous thing.
Trying to think of like other things about this game. I mean, Drew didn't play, but like, listen, do I think Drew helps against Maxey? Yes. Like, I think it's just another body to have out there. You could have went smaller if you wanted to. Like, it really felt like, Pritchard closed the game, but it felt like at times in this game they felt like they didn't have a choice.
I wonder if they would have tried
against Embiid.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they would have tried Drew and Embiid. I don't know what it would have done. I don't know if it would have helped, but I think it could have helped rotations and closeouts. But Pritchard was really bad. He's been really bad. He's been struggling a lot from three. He can't make a shot. He was 0 of 8 in this game. Nobody on the bench made a three. He had a nice play at the end of the game with like less than 3 minutes left where he forced a backcourt violation that sort of sparked a Celtics comeback. But they needed the threes, man. They needed the extra off in this one with the defense fumbling, and he was rough. Sam Hauser was pretty invisible as well. Again, only played 13 minutes, only took 1 3, and he missed it. 2 rebounds. That's it. That's all he contributed. Luke Cornett was really good. I thought he was one of the better players in this game for the Celtics. He ended a -1, unfortunately, and not exactly what you want, but 6 offensive rebounds, 10 boards. I thought his closeouts were really good. He had 2 blocks at the rim. He had 6 points as well. I thought the game kind of changed when he came in. And then Derek White as well, on top of Jordan Walsh and Amish Gator, who are both whatever. Derek White, 8 of 15, 5 of 10, but he was a -5. I thought he was pretty good. Turnovers were rough. He's had some uncharacteristically weird turnovers lately, it feels like. But his 3-point shooting was very much back in this game.
Yep. Needed it. Needed to see the ball go in the basket for him, because heading into this, like, I think when I watch games, I have a line of demarcation, which probably doesn't make sense for what we're talking about. But I have a threshold where it's, if you're above it, you shoot a 3, I think it's going in. If you're below it, probably don't think it's going in. To start the season, you had Tatum, Pritchard, Derek White, Hauser, I guess, to start, even though he started slow. Horford. Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think Jaylen was ever in there. So that's 5 guys. Right now, I don't know if I have anybody. Maybe it's just Tatum. Coming into the season, if you told me it was just Tatum and hey, I think it's actually Horford deserved one today.
That might be recency bias, I was going to say.
Horford's in there today. But I think White was good in this game shooting threes. Like, he made a couple big ones, and they needed that from him. But before today, he's been ice cold. Pritchard, ice cold. Like you said, Hauser, pretty much ice cold. He had a couple, hey, I might be back games. But exactly, he's like kind of phased out. Horford has even been a little bit cold as of late. You need, if you're the Celtics, and you play the way you play, you need a significant amount of guys above my line of belief. And right now, they don't have that many.
I mean, they're in these games. I don't think offense was the problem in this game. I think it was defense, obviously, as everyone talked about that after the game. But the shooting slump lately, in general, not this game, has been pretty rough. Caleb Martin was annoying. We talked about that earlier. Joel Embiid was fine. He was pretty good. Yeah. Tyrese Maxey was
unbelievable.
Incredible. So awesome. 12 of 23, 3 and 9, 33 points, 12 assists, 3 steals, a block, 4 rebounds. I mean, he was getting whatever the fuck he wanted. He shot, 8 of – quick maths, Jack. 8 of 14 from 2. He was getting to the rim at will. That was
33 and 12 with 3 steals is crazy.
It was fun to watch. Genuinely fun to watch. Unfortunately, he just had to be against the Celtics, but he was really good. Any final thoughts on this one? I think we covered it. Jordan Walsh and Nemi were whatever. I thought Nemi got cooked on defense a little bit, but his rebounding was fine. I don't think it was that bad. And then Jordan Walsh got in for like two fucking seconds. What, he played 2 minutes? He played 55 seconds. Okay.
I think that we are at a point where the Celtics need to win. It's time to win games again. You've lost 2 in a row. You've lost 3 out of 4. You've lost 4 out of 7.
Weird idea.
But what I mean by that is we're in a window, which will not last forever. We're in a window that it's not just like, oh, they lost, like, oh, whatever, they lost. Like, it's like,
Mm.
no, like they're losing and they're losing in similar ways, and they're losing to teams that they really shouldn't lose to. Like Philly played great today. Like, I'm not really
Losing
talking about Philly.
trends. Yes.
Yeah, like they're losing to Orlando with nobody playing for them. They're losing to fucking Chicago. They're losing to Atlanta. They're losing. I mean, they lost. The Warriors were hot at the time, but like Golden State's been butt ass, in the words of Justin Turpin, since like, I don't know, the last month. They've been horrible. The Celtics need to be more consistent. I need to be able to trust them in big games. And listen, like, the Celtics have won big games this year too. They beat Cleveland here in the Cup. They've swept Milwaukee. They beat the Knicks on opening night. There's probably like 3 or 4 more I can't think of off the top of my head. This is just a day that I think that they should have been more focused. And the fact that they weren't more focused, and you can easily point to a lack of focus in a marquee game, is a little bit concerning to me. But last year I had several of these where I was like, I mean, when they lost the Indiana Pacers in the Cup, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is the first game that has real stakes, and that's what you do, blah, 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 blah. And like in the playoffs, they sweep the Pacers. So you take it with a grain of salt, but it's just like you kind of like, you peer out from around the corner and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, the magical silicone film of, oh yeah, they're just gonna beat everybody is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. They are human. Correct. They are not a juggernaut. The Knicks are closer to the Celtics than the Celtics are to the Cavs now.
In the standings.
So it's just in the standings, yes. Celtics are 2 games up on the Knicks and 4 games back on the Cavs. So they just need to lock in, man. It's a long season. It's tough. It's 82 games. There's going to be stretches like this. They get that. I don't think they're worried at all. I don't think fans should be worried at all. But there are very clear flaws that need to be ironed out, and that is now evident. But anyways, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah to all of you. Thank you for tuning in very much. We appreciate it very much. Shout out to Philip and Carol Hart for the super cool merch and the super cool songs that we opened up in the pregame show. Go look at those. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple. Leave us a review on Apple too. I'd appreciate that. The follows on Spotify are huge too. I want to catch first. I want to catch first to the floor. That's my goal. I want to catch.
We don't listen. The way your crosshairs work, they are safe from your crosshairs in terms of your spite. But sure,
there's no spite. No.
A friendly
catch up. Yes. I love first of all. They're at 109.
For those of you that don't know Jack is essentially the way Michael Jordan was in The Last Dance, where he's just like, I took that personally. And he's like, I want to kill whatever it is I'm trying to beat.
Not that's not the case with First of the Floor. I love First of the Floor. This is just a friendly competition.
Is this the podcast version of Rap Beef?
Yep. First of all, is 109 or like 5-star ratings or star ratings or whatever ratings on Spotify. We have 51, so we have a long way to go. But I'm going to keep pushing it until we get close. So go leave us a 5-star on Spotify. We'd appreciate it very much. And I'll let Sam wrap it up.
All right. Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed your holiday. Glad we could be a part of it. If you came out for pregame, we appreciate that very much. If you watched it, we appreciate it. You probably didn't because they lost. Nobody watches it when they lose. But if you did, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Jack and I are here every day, win or loss. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. You might be saying, Sam, you idiot. Today's Thursday. There's no full pod. Well, it was Christmas. We didn't have time. We have the game recap nonetheless, which is going to be up no matter what the day after a game. And then we have other videos in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. Like Jack just said, give us a follow there. All pods and recaps will go right to your feed. And if you leave us a review, we'd appreciate that very much. It does help the algorithm. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. If you don't have something to say today, I don't know what to tell you. You're never going to have anything to say. Today's the day to be like, I have all kinds of feelings. hbtcpod@gmail.com. We'll get those read for you for the Sunday episode. You can also find us on social at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at Jack Simone NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.